thanks for pointing that out, 100 player. Yes. As I was saying, we are going to be playing some Broken Sword 1. I've never played this game before, but I've seen it streamed over a few times in the past couple of years. So, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and play this new adventure. And the Groves was kind enough to gift me this game. So we'll be playing both Broken Sword 1 and Broken Sword 2. So let's get started here, and let's watch the intro, and let's see what this game is all about.
Paris, city of love, romance, and dreams. So they say. I used to say it too, but ever since that day, the day of the murder, I've always associated my beloved Paris with death. I was at home having a bath when my editor called.
Collard, get your ass over to the Palais Royal now. You got an interview. With Pierre Carchon. Yes, the Pierre Carchon. No photos, so leave your gear at home. He asked for you personally. Don't ask me why. Anyhow, this could be big, so if he makes a pass, don't forget. Just smile, say yes, and keep taking notes.
So charming and so very apt. Pierre Carchon was a media king, a national hero, and one of the most infamous adulterers in Europe. He and his wife Imelda were just one step down from royalty. Whoa, I hate mimes, but unless you humor them, they don't go away. Here I was, the palace of the Media King and the Ice Queen. I pressed the doorbell and set in motion a chain of events which would change my life forever.
Yes? What is it?
Madame, my name is Nico Collard. I'm here to see Monsieur Carchon.
Come up, we're on the first floor.
Madame Carchon, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, I'm sure.
The Ice Queen was certainly living up to her reputation. Will you be staying for the interview?
Mademoiselle, I know little of my husband's business affairs, and I care even less. I certainly have no intention of watching him pore over yet another pretty little journalist.
Pretty? You're too kind, madame.
Ah, the talented and very beautiful Mademoiselle Collard. Such a pleasure to meet you at last.
Monsieur Carchon, I am honored.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
Call me Pierre, please. But I do not flatter you idly. I was a friend of your father. He was a great man.
My father? He never mentioned.
He and I were very close. And then his death. So tragic. I must... Imelda, your damned cat's in my study again. Another Ming vase, I suppose. Excuse me for one moment, my dear girl.
You journalists are getting younger each year.
Perhaps it's the rest of the world getting older, madame. That was no cat.
My God!
What? Monsieur Carchon?
He's dead. I must call the police. You'd better stay here.
There was a man. It was the mime. Do you think he...
Well, I believe we can rule out suicide, don't you?
No wonder they called her the Ice Queen. She would have been top of my list of suspects if I hadn't seen the attacker myself. And if I hadn't come across a couple of murders just like this already. One of the most important men in Europe murdered. And here was I, Nico Coulard, alone at the scene of the crime. Should I wait for the cops? Or start my own investigation? It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I didn't expect the mine. Yeah, I wasn't expecting for him to die by the mine. That was kind of unexpected. Yeah, hello there, Leonette. Welcome to the stream. Alright, move the mouse pointer around the screen to discover areas of interest, which were indicated by the animated blue circle. When the pointer passes over an object in which you can interact, it will change to an animating icon reflecting the available action. Press the left mouse button to perform that action. You can click the briefcase icon to open the inventory and display the objects that you're carrying. The diary icon to access the diary. Question mark to get a puzzle hints and interface help. Spanner icon to save and restore a game and adjust settings. These icons can be found in the lower section of the screen. Okay. Yeah, so we already know that there was a mime over the guy's body. So no inventory items. So is there subtitles for this? No, there is no subtitles for this. Alright, let's save our game.
The bookcase was filled with obscure first editions. A bust of Pierre Carchon, humble servant of La France.
I can go in there. After you can examine the body. Let's see this bust.
Pierre Carchon again. His eyes seem to follow me around the room.
That's a little creepy. Unfortunately, it's easy to catch a mime. All you need is an invisible box. Yeah! Yes, Spirit, that's all you need is an invisible box. So let's play with the curtains here.
A small round piece of glass had been cut out of the pane. This was a professional job. The killer must have used a ladder to reach the window. He was long gone. Guess he folded that ladder up, popped it in his pocket and took it with him. I didn't want to cut myself and leave blood on the glass. Call me old-fashioned, but I like to keep my DNA to myself.
Keep the DNA to yourself. Sounds like a good idea here. Alright, so he's stuck at the body.
Mimes and guns don't usually go together, but I had an idea that this was no ordinary mime. I'd come across this murderer before and written about him. The costume killer. At least that's what I'd called him.
Alright, you can for his face.
I closed his eyes. It was the least I could do for the poor fellow. It was one of my hair clips. My favorite, in fact. It must have fallen when I was knocked down.
Well, that changes the evidence in the room.
Some people hate searching corpses for clues. Me, I'm okay with it. Reminds me of an old boyfriend. Carchon had been shot.
No kidding.
In his pocket, I found a ticket stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. Taking the ticket meant I tampered with the evidence. There was no going back now.
Indeed.
Carchon had been shot.
Alright, I think that's it. Nothing else on this body. Alright, I guess we are ready to head out.
The police could turn up at any minute. Somewhere there were clues to the murder, and I needed to find them.
Uh-huh. Let's see this.
I reckoned that cloth might just turn out to be useful. Even my fingernail wouldn't fit into such a small hole. Aha! Nico, you are just so damn good at this stuff. Instead of comforting Imelda, I was ransacking her flat. Why? Because there was something going on here, and I had to get answers before the cops arrived. And hey, she'd been rude to me, so she had it coming.
Okay. Yeah, pretty easy so far. Of course, this is only the very beginning of the game. What else we got here?
A magnificent antique table.
Okay, what do you got? A painting?
Imelda had talent, but I certainly wasn't going to tell her that. It was a tube of acrylic paint. French ultramarine. Just the color I was after for my bathroom.
I'm sorry, I have to go. Someone is...
Young lady, what are you doing? Oh, this paint. It's my favorite color.
For God's sake, keep the damn stuff.
Okay. Let's talk to her, I guess.
Excuse me, madame.
Yes?
So, you can talk about...
I am so sorry for your loss, madame.
No, you're not. You're a journalist. Journalists don't feel sorry.
Not true.
We shall see.
Oh, hello there, JC Denton. Welcome to stream.
How did your husband know my father?
I have no idea.
You didn't know him? Thierry Collard?
Pierre knew a lot of people I didn't know, most of them women.
Let's talk about the mime.
Why would a mime want to kill your husband?
Pierre had plenty of enemies. Half the husbands in Paris for a start.
Why did your husband send for me? What did he want to discuss?
I have no idea. His business was his business.
He never told you anything?
No, and frankly I preferred it that way. This is quite a scoop for you. I suppose you're already inventing the headlines.
Just because I am a journalist.
Don't patronise me. You're all cut from the same cloth. Do you have any moral sense at all?
Yes,
good.
That's why I do this job.
You do it to see your name in print.
As if. My editor gets the byline, I just do the work.
Well, don't expect my sympathy.
The police will be here soon, madame. Is there anybody you would like me to contact? Family, friends?
No, I have no family. Pierre and I were... He was all I had, really. Not much, was it? The dutiful wife. That was my role. He never talked, never let me in.
I know one thing, madame.
What?
If you want to find out who killed your husband, then you let me do the job, not the police.
Why? How do I know I can trust you?
Your husband invited me here today because he needed me. I think he knew somebody wanted to kill him, and he knew I could help.
I doubt it was your database he was after.
You're wrong. I was onto his killers already, I am sure of it. Please, you owe it to him.
I don't know.
All I need is a few more minutes to look around before the police come.
You really do have a moral sense, don't you? I trust so few people. And perhaps Pierre really did think that you could help. Of course it wouldn't have stopped him seducing you too. Here, take this. It's the key to the drawing room next to the library at the end of the hall. It was Pierre's room. I rarely went in there. I couldn't. I was too scared of what I might find.
Well, I have,
Thank you.
now.
I promise you won't regret this.
So we got this.
A key. Maybe a safe key.
A safe key.
It was the drawing room key. There was no one I needed to phone. Not until I had solved this case.
Oh, I don't think you're gonna solve it right here. Don't think you're gonna solve it right here. Otherwise, this should be a very short game. Very short. Alright, let's go in here.
The door was locked.
What?
Now we were getting somewhere. I didn't need the lights on. It was light enough already. The painting showed the Cachons together, in love. As the poet said, the past is a different country. Or did I read that in a fortune cookie? There was the very faintest of clicks.
Interesting.
Behind the picture was a safe. The safe was locked. I needed the key.
Alright, put this in now. Didn't work.
The safe was locked. I needed the key.
This is not the safe key.
A key. Maybe a safe key.
Alright, maybe not the right key for that. Continue looking around this room.
This wasn't the time for me to lie on the sofa doing my Marie Antoinette impression. Though it is very popular at parties, especially with gay guys. Don't ask me why. As expected, the desk was yet another priceless antique. Yawn. The blotter and in tray had clearly been placed with mathematical precision. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. I didn't want to take the tray, but I knew that I could use it. My heart skipped a beat. It was a carved elephant. But not just any carved elephant. It had been made by my father. I knew for certain because in my apartment I had its exact twin, carved into a box he had made. So Cachon had known my father. They really must have been friends. I decided to take the carved elephant. It clearly meant nothing to Imelda.
Okay.
I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank.
Alright, anything else in here? We have have this thing, which we can't do anything with yet.
The safe was locked. I needed the key.
Oh, I gotta make sure it's yellow, right? There we go.
In the safe was some kind of artifact. There were strange symbols on its surface. It looked like the printer's blocks I'd made at art school. If there was one thing I'd learned about symbols, they are always important. But these symbols scratched into stone were impossible to read. I needed to find a way of printing them. At least the stone was round. But what could I use for ink? And what could I print on? Sure, I was stealing, but I knew Imelda didn't know about the artifact, and Carchon was past caring.
I'll use this for ink, I guess. Alright, let's maybe do we need to combine this?
Putting the paint straight on the cylinder would be too messy. The paint would go everywhere.
Alright, let's go back here. Alright, see what we got here. We want to put this item here. Right?
The blotter was flat already. Rolling the cylinder across it would achieve nothing.
Why not? It'd be fun. Let's do the paint here.
The paint would have just soaked into the blotting paper, but the idea was good. I didn't need a sheet of blotting paper. Not while it was blank. I smeared the paint all over the cloth. When I do messy, I really like to put my heart into it. I hoped this was going to help. They don't make lace like that anymore.
Alright, we put this with
I wiped the paint-covered cloth over the surface of the stone cylinder. It took me right back to art class at school. And Maurice, my gorgeous art teacher. Such a shame they had to fire him. Ah well, concentrate, Nico, concentrate.
Alright, now we put this on paper here.
Genius! The roller and the paint worked just as I planned. But what did it say? It was some kind of coded message. It read, sub judice. I may not have learned a lot as a journalist, but that was a term I knew well. It means a legal case that is before the courts. Below it was a sequence of letters that made no sense. I suddenly realized there was a connection between the boat ticket and the coded message. The boat ticket was stamped Bateau de la Conciergerie. The conciergerie on the Ile de la Cité, by the river, housed the ancient law courts. So, sub judice could in this case mean literally under the law courts, below the conciergerie. I was pretty sure I'd found all I could here. And besides, all this opulence was making me pine for my regular life of poverty. This was a huge story. It was also one heck of a puzzle with a lot of pieces missing. But I was going to crack it. And if I could just remember the name of that fancy prize you get for being an ace journalist, I was definitely going to win it this time.
Okay. Well, I guess we are done here. I guess we're in France, considering the French nature of these destinations.
medieval pageant. Original, no doubt. The tapestry must have cost a fortune.
Let's see, anything else we need to talk to her about before we leave?
Did you find anything useful?
This carving, do you know anything about it?
It was Pierre's. What does the statue have to do with...
Please, I need to know.
He was given it by a friend, something to do with Africa.
He never explained any more.
No, but I think it was important to him, always on display. Why?
It was carved by my father.
Oh, I see. I didn't know.
Imelda, I will do everything I can to find the killer.
Thank you, my dear.
And if the police ask...
Don't worry. You were never here.
Sub judice was the key. I was going to have to find a way under the conciergerie. I decided to head straight for the quayside on the Ile de la Cité. If there was a way of getting under the conciergerie, it would have to be from there.
Alright.
Carchon wasn't the type for messing about on the river. He was up to something down here. Something that got him killed.
I bet.
It was the old boathouse for the conciergerie. If I was right about the meaning of sub judice, then the answer had to lie somewhere here on the quayside.
Something here? Or just back out?
An old boyfriend of mine owned a barge once. Dampest relationship I ever had. In every way.
Okay. I probably can't get in here. Let's just walk around here, see if there's anything else of any great importance here.
The cross looked familiar. I'd seen it before. It was embroidered on the lace cloth I'd picked up at Carchon's apartment. I knew I was on the right track.
What if these doors? I bet you this is one that we have to enter into. See if there's anything we can look inside here. See if there's anything of great value.
The fence wouldn't move. This fence wouldn't move either. I tried pushing the fence, but it wouldn't move. A strange pair of locks stopped the latches from releasing the gate.
It's like a puzzle. It looks like a puzzle. You must move the rectangular block so that the latch can slide all the way across, so releasing the gate to open. Blocks move along your length, some vertically, some horizontally. So I'm assuming we need to get to move a block, click and drag it horizontally and vertically along the appropriate axis. I believe to get this over here, if I am not mistaken. Alright, how do I do this? Can't move it up though. This piece is not able to be moved. Alright, this is a sliding puzzle of some sort, but I can't, not many moves here. Ah, yes. This is not movable. That's what, 1, 2, 3. So I need to get down here somehow. Okay, this puzzle is gonna take me a little bit. Now what I need to do, I just have to figure out how. So, can't move that up for some reason. Yes, we have a slider puzzle here. And this is a unique slider puzzle because not all the pieces actually can move. Which makes this a little more difficult. So I just need to get this piece all the way down. Somehow. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. Over like that. That maybe. Oh, we want to slide. Not sure this is actually going to help me at all. Probably do this and this. Right. can't move this side to side. I can only move that straight up. Can't move that up either. Looks like I'm making progress, but not sure what. There's this big opening over here.
Yes! One down, one to go.
Yeah! Alright, first slider puzzle solved. Alright, second one. Alright, slider puzzle number 2. So this one looks a little bit easier than the last one. But looks can be deceiving. So again, gotta get this out of the way. Can't slide this only up and down, can't slide it right to the left. I'm gonna slide this over one, slide this over one, slide this over, oh that's what I still want, yeah, slide this over 2 and slide that down. Pretty much have solved it, but of course I can't do that. Can't slide that left or right. This doesn't really get me anywhere here. Maybe you need to move the latch. You can do something like that, maybe. Okay. Only slide up and down. Okay. sure how that's gonna help me here. Maybe. It's back down again. This one, and there we go.
Nothing like a good convent education for honing your lockpicking skills.
That wasn't too bad.
For a room full of junk, that was one very sophisticated lock system. This place was definitely fishy, in more ways than one.
Oh, let's see what we got here.
I really didn't want to pull the fence back up and risk trapping myself in this place.
Why not? It'll be fun. Being trapped in here. Slide this down or something. There's something underneath this boat.
Oops.
Oops. Something here?
An old shell case. I wondered what that was doing there.
Oh, I remember this puzzle. I've seen this part before. But I don't remember too much about it.
The words sinister and Dexter were carved on either side. Now any good convent girl like me knows the old Roman for left, right, right. But what did it mean here? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. The hole was too small even for my little hand.
Maybe we need this. I guess not. Not let me use it though. Ah, this stone cylinder thing, I bet. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Mystery solved. Carchon's stone cylinder slotted into the hole with a satisfying click. A satisfying click told me I turned it to the right position. It felt like tumblers in a safe. Rolling out the painted cylinder had given me a print of a secret message. It read, Sub Judice. Below it was a sequence of letters, S, D, S, S, D, S, S. rolling out the painted cylinder, had given me a print of it.
Alright, so I'm gonna assume that S and D is left, right. So S is left. I need a piece of paper for this. So this is gonna be S, D, S, 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 D, S, S. It's gonna be, let's try left, right, left, left, right, left, left. I went left once, so let's give this a shot here. So this is gonna be right.
Another click, another step closer.
Left. Left. Right. Left. Left.
I love the sound of locks clicking open.
Bingo! Well, that was pretty easy.
I removed the stone cylinder. I'd already unlocked the door.
Anything else before I enter the room?
Moving the skiff would only damage it more.
Oh, why we care about that? So I think that's it. Let's go in here.
Ut lex vel ut next sumito. To the law or unto death submit. I guess these people didn't believe in liberté, égalité, or fraternity. Yes, I'll admit it. I was a swot at school. I also wore lipstick and the nuns never knew.
Alright, so just we'll walk in here. What do we got here?
Oh my God! The slab came down with a hell of a force. With nothing to hold it up, the cross dropped back down again.
Oh, so we need an object or something to hold that up. I don't know, maybe this? No? What about the stone cylinder? Oh, give me the I don't know thing. Let me look at this maybe.
The panel wouldn't move.
The panel won't move.
Lifting the cross closed the entrance door and also opened some kind of stone panel. Ingenious.
Alright, that's annoying.
The stone cross was propped up. Now I was getting somewhere. I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. I've always been attached to my fingers. This slot was designed for something specific. But what?
Maybe it's gonna be for this.
The artifact slotted into the hole perfectly. Behind the old walls, I could hear some kind of mechanism groaning into life, but whatever had been triggered had now jammed.
Alright, let's walk here.
The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open. I was going to need something a lot stronger than a hair clip to free the door.
So I guess we need the
I removed the shell case.
shell casing.
The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up. The gap was too narrow. I needed something flatter to work into it.
Okay. I think we need to crush this shell casing, I think. I don't think I have anything else in my inventory that I can use here. So let's grab that. Let's put this. Let's try that. That should be crushed now, right?
The stone slab had flattened one end of the shell case.
And then they're gonna put the shell. And then we're gonna put this thing back in here, and we should be good to go. Take the shell casing, and maybe you can zip it out underneath that door.
I removed the shell case. Another good use for a shell case. Another secret room. Somebody had something to hide. But was it what I was looking for?
Hi. Beeping over here.
Wow. Through the darkness, I could see that this was a stateroom. But for what purpose? And how did it tie in with Carchon?
did see something that was lit up over here.
Amazing! The thing still worked. The room lit up bright as day.
Okay. Alright. Let's check this room out.
I wasn't going to find anything in this old desk. It hadn't been used for years.
Might be something good in here.
Inside the drawer, I found a note written in some kind of code.
Oh, more codes. The note has been written in a substitution cipher. This means that a different symbol has been used to represent each letter of the alphabet. To crack the code, you must correctly match all the symbols to the corresponding letters. Highlight a symbol and then highlight the corresponding letter. If you made a mistake, click on the go back button to step back, or you can reset the whole puzzle by clicking on the reset button. Oh boy, this is going to be time consuming. Let's try O for this symbol here. This could be 2 and 2. 2 and 2, maybe? Let's see here. Let's find the right symbol here. It's a triangle thing here. Alright, then we have this symbol, which is like a T, maybe. So that's gonna be a T. It's gonna be. So that looks like it's right. So those two letters look correct. Now comes the hard part. We're going to take the short letters. The short letters will definitely... oh, this is going to be an A. This symbol is going to be an A. So, what is that symbol? So, that symbol is going to be this bad boy. This is going to be that. So that could be an H. And this is that symbol, which is this thing, right? No. Where is that symbol? I don't see that symbol. blind. Ah, there it is, right here. Okay, so yeah, we got one word so far of this whole thing. Actually, two, got a few words. One word that's more than 3 letters. So this here might be an I. It. So let's do I, that U thing. Okay. And this might be an S. This is to block. This is 2 blocks, so this might be S here. Okay, what else do we got here? This is not an is. Not sure what that would be. This is both different. One of these has to be. Since these are all different letters, this must be and. I'm not sure what that is. This is definitely and, since it has 3 separate letters to it. So let's give N here. So we have the N, so now we just have to symbol. The U thing here. U. Upside down U, no, went the right side up U. Oh, right. Yeah, that might be weight, maybe. Not sure what that word is. Not sure what that is either. I guess it's weight. So W is gonna be this crazy letter. That looks correct. That 2 weight. I think I'm getting there. It's 2 something to weight. Both, maybe. Both, yeah, both. Let's try to get a shot here. Both. And this is gonna be but, maybe. But this is to something to wait. Let's see. that and find the symbol. F. Of us who? F. Not sure what this word is. What was this word? This is gonna be dead. That was a big letter there. I filled in a lot of things. So I think this is gonna be all of us, and this is two of the same letters, so this has to be all. That will do that. Yeah, that's gonna be all of us. That worked out great. This is gonna be together, I think. Together, alright, that looks like it's following in, and this is gonna be an R. We need the circle thing. And now, pretty much have this all. Full report. Yeah, full report to follow, but this is too urgent to wait. Arno and Blah are both dead. This is not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Yeah, it's all C's. Coincidence. This is a C. As it seems. All of us who came together in Bala are in great danger. This is gonna be take great care. This is gonna be K. Okay. These are both the same letter. All of us who came together in this is a month, maybe July, maybe? July? Might be. Okay. No! I didn't hit that button. So this is refresh, and this was back up one. Oh no, do this all over again. Oh. Oh, we should have used it the second time around. So A is gonna be that symbol. this symbol, and D is gonna be this symbol. Dead. This is Pierre. P. This can be I. This can be R. Coincidence. This will be O. T here, so that is going to be alright, so that worked out. It should be urgent. Wait. Follow F. This is July, so let's put Y and greater than equal sign. J. S here? Okay, that's it. H. But. This is M. Not V. Let's try X.
I had decrypted the note. It read, Pierre. Full report to follow. But this is too urgent to wait. Arno and Yamada both dead. This is not a coincidence. Indeed, it seems that all of us who came together in July are in danger. Take great care. X.
Not sure who the people are. I'm sure we'll find out more.
It was pretty clear from the lack of dust that someone had been working very recently at this desk. Oh my God! The sheet was a printout with my personal information. Everything from my favorite food to my waist size. They were right about chocolate. But come on, guys, I'm a size 10. There was even a picture of me, taken with a telephoto lens. Carchon wouldn't have taken these pictures himself. This was big and organized. I was part of it, and people were getting murdered. This was the article I'd written about the costume killer. My suspicions were right. Carchon had cut it out. 2 businessmen had been killed. One in Italy, one in Japan. In each case, the killer had worn a costume, a penguin, and then a snowman. But that wasn't the only link between the 2 murders. Both the victims had been big media do-gooders, and I proved they were just the opposite. So, how did they fit in with Carchon? My articles about the costume killer.
Oh, it's all about the same thing.
My articles about the costume killer. One thing was clear. Someone connected to Carchon had been watching me. The dregs at the bottom of the mug hadn't dried out or gone moldy. It wasn't more than a day old. Damn, don't you just hate it when that happens?
Thing in here?
A photo, long lost, had fallen down the back of the drawer. It was very old, but there was no mistaking the guy in the foreground. Carchon. Behind him were soldiers, a burning village and a corpse. The photograph was cropped on the right-hand side. Somebody else in the picture obviously didn't want to be in it anymore. I wasn't surprised. This was Africa in the 60s. An uprising was being brutally suppressed. And here was Mr. Media himself, Carchon, doing the suppressing. The photograph was not just powerful evidence. It was also my ticket to one explosive story. I had enough for a story. An amazing story that was going to make my reputation and blow Carchon's to pieces. I needed to get home fast and start typing.
Alright, so that was done.
Bonsoir, Collard.
Nico, it's Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, you cracked open the champagne yet?
Are you crazy?
What's wrong? Wait a minute. You didn't print it, did you?
Course I didn't print.
That's the best piece I've written.
The last, as far as I'm concerned.
It's important.
It's suicidal. You can't destroy a national hero.
He deserved it.
His corpse isn't even cold.
Ronnie, 2 hours ago I told you what I'd found. You loved it. You begged me to write it up immediately.
2 hours is a long time in newspapers, Nico.
Someone's got to you, haven't they?
Listen up, Nicole, and listen good. Pierre Carchon had a lot of friends. Powerful friends. For your own sake.
Forget what happened.
You got it. End of conversation. Good night.
This should have been my big break, but I knew there was nowhere else to sell this story. If Ronnie wouldn't print it, nobody would.
Alright, so can I put the story because it's somebody too high up?
Bonsoir, Collard.
Mademoiselle Collard, my name is Plantard. I need to talk to you about your story. Your Pierre Carchon story.
How did you know about that?
There are people out there, madame, who will be very upset by this story.
Oh, really? Well, it's their lucky day. It's been spiked.
Yes, I know. We must meet.
We must?
I have information relating to your costume killer stories. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., Café de la Chandelle Verte, Rue Alain Court. I shall be wearing a grey overcoat. You must talk to no one about this.
You can't tell me what to...
Tomorrow at 8. I'll be waiting.
People complain about newspaper articles all the time, but not usually before they're printed. I was beginning to feel scared. This guy, Plantard, could I trust him? Should I meet him or forget the whole business? I didn't have an answer.
I'd only been in Paris for a week, but already I'd fallen in love with the city. My latest discovery was a little cafe, La Chandelle Verte. I was pretty sure the waitress was taking a shine to me. That old Stobart charm, I guess. Little did I know my reverie was about to be so rudely interrupted.
Okay, so, somebody...
As I picked myself up, I was really angry. 1 minute, I'm on vacation. The next minute, some clown's blown me up. I knew right away what I was going to do. I was going to find that clown and bring him to justice. Because justice matters. Justice is up there with liberty. And equality. And, fraternity. After all, that's why I'd studied law, wasn't it? Well, that and the money, of course.
Alright, so we have a killer mime and a killer clown. I'm noticing a pattern here. Okay.
The leading article referred to the visit of a Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state. The column was devoted exclusively to rumor, gossip, and sensationalism. I noticed the writing at the foot of the page. It read, Salah Eddin, 1345. The big story was about the brutal murder of a French media magnate, shot down in cold blood. The guy oozed confidence, like a regular French statesman.
Might want to write this down here. I'm not sure if I'll put all this information in the journal or not. Okay, 134.5. Or you can put it in the
It was a Paris daily tabloid newspaper, full of sex, scandal, and sports results.
oh, let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on here.
I considered straightening the table, but I figured it best not to disturb the evidence.
Freeze! Hold it, right there.
Oh, don't shoot. I'm innocent. I'm an American.
Can't make up your mind, huh?
I demand to see the American consul.
Drop your weapons and get down on the ground.
Put that thing away, Sergeant Moo. I apologize, monsieur, but I cannot permit you to leave.
Am I under arrest?
Ah, no, I would simply like to ask you some questions. En avant, to the café, marche. What a mess. This bombing is an outrage, is it not?
Stop that, monsieur.
Has it occurred to you that he may be dead, Moo?
Oui, monsieur. But I prefer to look on the bright side. Besides, I recall a case where the killer escaped by feigning death. However, in this case, the man is quite dead.
Examine the girl and take her statement, if you can. Et maintenant, to business. Your name, please?
George Stobart. I'm from California.
And what brings you to Paris, Monsieur Stobart?
Travel. I'm touring Europe.
You chose well. The city is most beautiful at this time of year, no?
Yeah, I guess so, apart from the bomb blasts.
Were you in the vicinity of the cafe at the time of the explosion?
Yeah, I was sitting out on the sidewalk. I was lucky I wasn't killed. The inspector passed over my remark with no reaction.
Did you see the deceased enter the cafe?
Yes, I did.
Was he alone?
Yeah.
And did he say anything to you?
No. He was more interested in the waitress.
Did you see anyone else in the cafe?
Yeah, there was a guy dressed as a clown. He was carrying an accordion.
An accordion? Bon. The picture is forming in my mind, and it is not a pretty one. Is the girl all right, Moo?
She'll live. She confirms the American statement. A clown with an accordion, no doubt an elaborate and eccentric disguise.
Very well. Eh bien, I have heard enough.
What do you mean?
I am satisfied that you know nothing. You may leave. I hope this little incident does not spoil the rest of your vacation.
What about my personal safety? Can't you at least give me some advice?
What can I say? Stay alert and look out for suspicious characters.
And don't cross the road until the little man shows green.
Great advice.
I honestly believe you are in no danger, monsieur. Should you remember anything of importance, please contact me. My card.
Thanks.
That is all. You may go.
There's not much to go on, monsieur.
On the surface, no. But what lurks inside the subconscious? If the door can only be opened.
Are you serious, monsieur? I thought your interest in psychic detection was purely academic.
I guess we can talk to her maybe?
Excuse me, mademoiselle?
Hi. My name's George Stobart.
Oh, an American by the sound of it.
Yep, that's right. On vacation in Paris. Some vacation, huh?
You were here when the bomb went off?
Sure was. Sat right out in front of the cafe.
Did you notice a middle-aged man, maybe 60, with a hat and overcoat?
I couldn't believe it. She hadn't even asked how I was feeling. Yeah, he went inside just before the bomb exploded. You weren't related to him, were you?
Oh, no, nothing like that. I'm Nicole Collard from La Liberté.
What is that, some kind of nightclub?
Oh, no, it's a newspaper.
You're a reporter?
I'm a freelance photojournalist.
Say, you could interview me about the bombing. An eyewitness account, minutes after the outrage that shook the whole of Paris. You know, real-life drama, human interest, that kind of stuff.
I'll just stick to the facts, thank you. Did you see who planted the bomb?
I know it sounds crazy, but he was dressed like a clown.
A clown? It's him again.
Well, let's talk about the clown.
Have you met the clown before?
It's a long story.
I have plenty of time.
I don't.
Do you know a police officer called Rosso?
Rosso? Our paths have a knack of crossing. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was deliberate. Have you seen Rosso? Is he here?
He's inside, attempting to question a witness with his psychic powers.
That guy is weird.
Yeah.
Alright, and then...
Who was the guy you were supposed to meet?
His name was Plantard. I didn't know him, but he called me last night. He said he had a story which would interest me. He asked me to meet him at the cafe. I guess I'll never know what he wanted to tell me.
Well, not unless you have Rosso's gift for psychic interrogation. How did Plantard get your name?
Through the newspaper, La Liberté. I'd written an article linking two unsolved murders, one in Italy, the other in Japan. The cases were remarkably similar. A wealthy victim, no apparent motive, and a costume killer. Plantard said he could supply me with more information. Somehow the clown must have known about our appointment.
Why won't you tell me about the clown?
Why do you want to get involved?
Because he almost killed me. Isn't that reason enough?
I guess so. Listen, I'll give you my phone number. You help me with my story and I'll let you in on what I know. And let's get one thing straight right now. This is strictly business.
Okay, it's a deal.
I have to go develop these pictures. À bientôt, monsieur.
Fine. I'll see you soon.
Alright, so plot thickens here. So we have another death with another costume character. Alright, this is a little strange. Let's see if he has anything to say.
Sergeant Moo?
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure.
Alright, let's talk
What
about it.
is Rosso doing with that girl?
He is giving her the once-over, as you Americans say. Once he gets his teeth into a case, nothing will shake him off.
I was one of the last people to see the victim alive, Sergeant.
Does that worry you?
Yes, it does. I feel I owe it to him to find his killer.
That is best left to the authorities, monsieur. Did he speak to you? Tell you anything?
No, he just grinned and nodded.
Don't let it trouble you, monsieur. Go home and try to forget.
I know the identity of the dead guy. His name was Plantau.
Is that so? You knew him, did you?
No, but
We'll know everything there is to know about him soon enough.
I'm trying to be helpful here.
The best way you can help us is to go home, monsieur.
Alright, let's
See you later, Sergeant.
go down here again. Talk to this guy.
Hey, you!
I thought you'd been arrested.
No, it was a misunderstanding.
When he pulled that gun, gah! I thought that was it. Those automatics pack quite a punch, you know?
He made a mistake. He thought I was a terrorist.
You? A terrorist? Ha!
He was only doing his duty, I guess. Did you see a clown come by this way?
A clown? Like in a circus?
Yeah, with makeup and a big red nose.
Oh, those guys are funny, aren't they?
Not in my experience.
I love the circus, especially the horses.
You haven't answered my question. Have you seen a clown?
You think I've got time to watch everyone who passes by? Some of us have to work for a living.
Yeah, clowns are quite
Look,
scary.
I know you're busy, but surely you'd have noticed a clown.
I told you already. I didn't see a thing.
He was wearing multicolored baggy trousers and makeup.
He'd be a poor sort of clown if he didn't.
Listen, I have to find that clown. He's a killer.
Say, who are you anyhow? A cop?
No, of course not. I mean, do I look like a cop?
No, but you act like one, sticking your nose in where it's not wanted. How do you know this guy's a killer? Did you see him in action?
Didn't you hear the explosion? The cafe was blown up.
I wondered what that bang was. Any bodies?
Yeah, an old man was killed.
Merde. I didn't think it was that serious. What about the waitress?
Oh, she's fine.
Thank the saints.
Did you see an old guy with a briefcase?
Wait, silly old coot. Do you know what he said to me? Work fascinates me, he says. I could watch it all day. Quelle bite. I could have knocked his block off.
Did you recognize the old man?
No. Should I have done? Was he a celebrity?
No, but I guess he is now.
Was he the one who died in the cafe?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Now I wish I hadn't called him what I did. If only I could turn back the clock. If only I'd been more tolerant.
Regret and remorse are strange emotions. They really bring out the hammiest actors in people. Would you like to read my newspaper?
I haven't got time to read that. Can't you see I'm busy?
You could read it on your lunch break.
10 minutes is all I get. And if my boss had his way, I wouldn't get that. He'd have me on a drip, so I didn't have to stop to eat.
Oh, take the newspaper and quit complaining.
Alright, dude.
Ah, look at this.
Damn bleeding heart liberals! Tcha! Save the dolphins! Catch them and eat them, I say! All that fuss over a bunch of fish! Nah, that's more like it! Look at the size of those! Like champagne bottle corks, no? Ah, what's this? Saladin running in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe.
It's a racehorse?
A horse? A legend! Bucephalus reborn, mon ami! Like a streak of lightning she is! Do me a favor, won't you? Keep an eye on my hole. I'm off to put some money on that nag.
What about your toolbox?
Stuff it. Help yourself.
Oh yeah, I will help myself. Help myself to the toolbox.
I found a T-shaped tool in the box. I didn't know what it was, but it looked useful.
Hello, Nico Coulard.
Hello? It's George.
Oh, hi.
Well, I haven't had a lot of luck.
You found nothing?
No.
Look, I'm very busy right now. Call me if you have any news, okay?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Adieu, monsieur.
See you.
Oh, there's a phone. There's a doorway here. I guess we have to go through here. Maybe we should see what else is going on in the cafe. So you can't go back in here. We can go into this alleyway over here. So let's go here.
The clown had fled into this alley, but there was no sign of him now. I was intrigued by Nico and what she could tell me about the explosion.
There was nothing of interest.
Alright, nothing of interest in the alley. Anything in the garbage? Hey, it's a cat!
It smelled like someone had dumped a truckload of fish in a locker room on a hot summer afternoon.
Oh, that's gross. Oh, I don't think we get this down in here yet.
The cover was too heavy and awkward to lift with my bare hands.
Alright, so...
It was an iron cover concealing the entrance to a drain or sewer.
So we got that key that we just picked up.
I lifted the cover to reveal what smelt like the entrance to a sewer.
Oh, let's get down in here. There's always a sewer level. Always a sewer level in the game. Let's continue on here. Let's see what else we got here. Pick this up.
As I picked up the plastic ball, I realized it was intended to be worn. It was the clown's red nose.
Oh my, the plot thickens. I should probably save my game. Been a while since I saved it. I guess we head up here.
I scooped up the sodden tissue. It was cold and greasy, like breakfast leftovers.
Okay, so I got a nice little
It was the soggy tissue I'd found in the sewers.
Soggy tissue. Okay. Yeah, might as well head up. Nothing else we can do down here.
I took hold of the scrap of material and unsnagged it from the spike. It was the scrap of material I'd found in the sewer.
Okay.
Hi there.
Hold it right there, you sewer rat. I knew you'd come back, and now I've got you.
What are you talking about?
You're trespassing. Come out of there, immediately.
That's what I'm trying to do. Give me your hand.
Ha! You won't catch me with tricks like that. Keep your distance, monsieur.
Okay, okay.
Now, what were you looking for?
I was looking for a clown.
Huh, ridiculous. Do you really expect me to believe that?
Yes.
He planted a bomb in the cafe and blew it up.
What? The cafe? Blown up? Mon Dieu. That is awful. And you say the person responsible was dressed as a clown?
That's right. He blew up the cafe, escaped into the sewer, changed his clothes, and came up here.
Ah, mon Dieu. Then, the man I chased, do you think that man and the clown are one and the same?
Well, yes, it had crossed my mind.
Ah, that still does not explain what you are doing down the sewer. For all I know, you are in league with him.
Oh no, I'm just a tourist.
Haha, most tourists are content with the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, or the Pigalle. I didn't realize my waste pipes were such an attraction.
What?
Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
I didn't notice. Now are you going to leave, or do I have to call the police?
We can show him the card, I guess.
Perhaps you'd like to take a look at my card?
Mm-hmm. What is this? Inspector Augustin Rousseau? What does that say? Hominoid Division?
A homicide. I think the ink's smudged.
Mm-hmm. Then you are not a tourist.
Okay, I'm not. I lied to you, and I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, monsieur. You know, I had a feeling there was something different about you. It is your posture, your poise. Oh, yes. There is no mistaking the bearing of a disciplined man. And I should know. I was in the army, you know. When I was your age, I was fighting for my life in the African desert. How can I help you, Inspector?
Oh, this
Tell me about the man you apprehended.
He was a mean one, monsieur. He grabbed me in an armlock. His face suddenly next to mine. His grip was like iron, but he did not know what he was up against. Oh no! He made a big mistake when he took on one of the desert hyenas.
Yes, I get the picture.
Well, this is the waitress.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
You can't suspect her, surely.
Just answer the question, please.
Yes, I know her. Quite well, you could say. She came to work at the cafe 6, 7 months ago. I look forward all week to the relief she gives me when she visits.
Really? So you'd miss her if she wasn't there?
Oh, mais oui! Who else would I find to cut my toenails?
Alright, let's talk about this guy. We don't know who he is.
Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
About the briefcase?
Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
Why, yes, he was. Clutched in his arms like a baby.
That belonged to his victim.
Oh, what do you think was in it? Drugs? Stolen jewels?
I don't know. but the killer thought it was worth a man's life.
Nothing is worth that, monsieur.
Let's see.
Take a look at this false nose.
Aha! That looks like a clown's nose to me.
Precisely. He must have dropped it in his panic.
Unless he wanted you to find it.
Why would he want to do that?
To put you off the scent.
Okay, let's talk about this cloth here.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur. It's disgusting. What on earth possessed you to show it to me? Someone had emptied their nostrils into it.
What about this stuff?
Does this piece of material mean anything to you?
Ah, that is the same cloth as the jacket I found. I'd recognize that pattern anywhere.
Alright, let's talk about that.
Now, about the jacket you found. Do you have it here?
No, monsieur. One of the sleeves was badly torn, so I sent it for repair. A pity, because otherwise it was a fine piece of quality tailoring. It had the tailor's name inside on the label.
Huh, interestingly enough.
Where did you send the jacket?
I gave it to an itinerant Romany seamstress.
Just my luck. Was there anything in the jacket pockets?
Not a sou. You know what I think?
Do tell me.
He changed out of the clown suit and cunningly disguised himself as an ordinary person.
Looks like I'm up against a mastermind. What was the name on the label?
Ah, it was a foreign name. Todrick, I think.
Did you get the address?
There wasn't one, monsieur. Only a telephone number.
Well, I don't expect you to remember a phone number you've only seen once.
74 98 08 59.
You're kidding. That's his phone number?
Yes, that's it. A little trick with numbers that I learned in the desert. I was taught the technique by a Tuareg shaman.
That's incredible.
It comes in handy at the supermarket checkout. Do I get a reward?
Honesty, monsieur, is its own reward.
Then I'm glad I do not rely on honesty to pay the bills.
Alright, top of the sewer key.
This is what I used to open the manhole cover.
I have one just the same as that, monsieur. I will fetch it if you like.
No, don't bother.
Oh, it is no bother, monsieur.
Nah, forget it.
Just trying to be helpful, monsieur.
I think we are done here. We exhausted all the options here.
I have to be going. Thanks to your help, the citizens of Paris can sleep a little easier tonight.
Vraiment? I was only doing my duty, monsieur. Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
So the clown had escaped into the sewer, come up into the courtyard, and then slipped back into the street here. It wasn't much, but it was more than the cops had got.
Indeed. Well, I guess we can call Nico here. Give her the information update here.
Hello, Nico Coulard.
Hello? It's George.
Ah, oui.
You said to call if I could help.
Have you any news for me?
You bet. I met a witness who spoke to the clown. And I know where the killer gets his suits.
No kidding. Hey, I'm impressed.
You are? Well, it wasn't easy.
Look, why don't you come here to my apartment later this afternoon?
Fine. Where do you live?
361 Rue Jarry.
Okay, I'll come over.
I was used to working alone, but I had to admit it felt good with George on the case too. But there were some things I was going to have to do alone, and fast. I needed the answers to some questions. Who was the costume killer? And why did he murder Carchon? Why did Carchon ask for me to interview him? How did he know my father? And why was my editor so scared? There was some kind of secret war going on out there, but who was on which side? One thing I did know. I wasn't going to get the answers sitting at my desk.
Alright, so I'll probably just save again here after I had that long conversation. So let's do that now. Well, I give you percentage complete, so no more than 15%.
It was a photograph of my father, the first one I ever took, with the first camera he ever bought me.
You have no messages.
That guy sounded like he had a cold. Is there anything in here? What we got here? What do we have here?
The box was carved by my father. It never had a key. The elephant on the lid was a perfect match to Carchon's. The box was one of the few things my father left me. The elephant on the lid was a perfect match to Carchon's.
Doesn't do anything. Nope. Don't think any of these keys are gonna work. Probably something to come back to later, I think.
The photograph showed Carchon smiling happily to camera, with a background of burning huts and death.
There's nothing I can do with that at the moment. But something to come back to later, I guess. I'll get the key to open that.
My first Teddy. Never had a boyfriend as loyal as him. There wasn't anyone that I needed to call.
Oh, I guess we're done here. Let's exit. Well, let's talk to this woman.
Mademoiselle Collard.
Oh, hello there. Don't tell me. I'm going to meet a tall, dark man.
No, I don't think so. Why would you say that?
Oh, just a wild guess.
Anyway, your cousin's female and very pretty.
What?
Your cousin from Marseille. How could you forget her so soon? She was only in your apartment yesterday.
Ah, really?
Such a charming young girl.
Isn't she? And in my apartment, you say?
She let herself in, of course. She's got a key.
Suddenly, everything made sense. My apartment had been bugged. That was how Plantard knew all about my article. How did I know? Because the only cousin I have is a sweet little guy called Jean-Marc, who runs a patisserie in Le Touquet. These people were determined, which meant they were also very dangerous.
Alright.
I suppose she'd forgotten which apartment was mine.
Oh, Miss Collard, you're a mind reader. That's just what she said.
Oh, I bet it was. Well, I'd better be going. see what my sweet cousin's been getting up to.
Au revoir, mademoiselle.
Alright, so our apartment's been bugged. So looks like there's nothing else to do here. Got the cafe, the residence, and Rougier. So let's go to the cafe again, see if we get more evidence here.
Hello, could I ask you some questions?
That depends. Are you a cop?
No, I'm a journalist.
Bit late, aren't you? They already took away the body.
I'm doing a follow-up on this story. Tell me, are you related to the workman I saw digging the hole?
Don't talk to me about flobage. Pah!
Okay.
He just won a fortune on the horses and he won't give me a cent.
Well, it's his money.
When he was broke, he was happy to touch me for a loan. Brothers should look after each other, he used to say. He's changed his tune, now he's brassed up.
You're doing a fine job.
Damn right I am. You should be writing about me, not that idiot that got blown up.
The heroes who pick up the pieces when disaster strikes.
Exactly.
Well, give me your best smile and maybe I'll put your picture in the article.
Oh, right. Just give me a minute to do my hair.
I don't have a camera with me.
Hello?
Yes?
Have the police finished with the crime scene?
What does it look like? I got orders to board up the windows, and that's what I'm doing.
So the body's been removed?
I certainly hope so, or it'll stink to high heaven when they take down these boards.
Shouldn't you check?
Are you kidding? They don't pay me enough to put up boards, let alone check for dead bodies.
I need to take some more pictures.
Of course. My pleasure. Just give me a moment.
The police had removed the body, but nothing else looked disturbed.
Indeed, nothing else has been disturbed here. So we have all kinds of damage. So for those of you just joining us, a clown came in here and set off a bomb in the cafe. He killed some guys she's supposed to be seeing. So we're just following up to find out more information of what happened here.
Oops, stupid thing. A panel had been blown away, revealing a gap. From this angle, I could see that something had been lodged in the gap behind the pipes.
Something's been lodged in the something in the pipe.
Behind the table were some damaged pipes. Voila! The police and forensic teams had missed a vital piece of evidence. Some kind of pouch. On the pouch was the cross symbol of Carchon's organization. I was on the right track.
Alright, so that worked out pretty easily. Nothing here. Don't think there's anything else here.
Some journalists drink on the job, not me.
Let's check that pouch that we got.
On the pouch was the cross symbol of Carchon's organization. Inside the pouch were two items, a strange metallic artifact and a letter in some kind of code. The artifact had a sword laid across scales, the scales of justice. I wondered if this connected to the room at the quayside. Another coded message using the same cipher system. So, Plantard was involved with Cauchon.
Oh, another coded message. Alright. Alright, so now I gotta figure out this cipher again. First one wasn't too bad. Yeah, I gotta find out how to start with this one. Yeah, this looks like and. Well, this could be and, but this is the end of the sentence, so it's probably not and, something else. But this could be and. Well, this could be an and. So let's do the and. So let's assume that this is and. So we will do this. Alright, so we got one word. This might be that Yamada. Yamada here again. He was in the first message that I decoded. This could be me, maybe. Me. This should be me. So let's see if I'm correct on that. It looks like that. It looks that way. No idea. Let's see here. What else can I figure out here? This could be B. One of these could be B. Let's try the second one here. Because usually I start sentences with B, which is why I decided not to do that. Usually. That looks correct. This is usually apostrophe S. So we can do S here. might be she. That looks right. So SH. This is he. This is she. That looks like a H. This is a V for have. No idea what that is. Alright, so the rest of this is pretty hard. This could be killed, or it could be missed. There's so many words for that too. Maybe we here, we. Let's see. The WED looks correct. No idea if that's correct. Now we must be blah blah blah. That looks correct. Must. Must. This is now obviously, so let's do that. He blah blah come for us, maybe. Yeah, this might be an eye. This is almost certain this is gonna be an eye. Into this is come. That can be a C. That didn't help me much. I think this is all. That helped a lot. And of course, we got P for a plank card, or PU, I should say. This is plank card. We have K for killed. Must have followed my trail for us. Now we must be vigilant.
Plantard. Pierre killed. Murderer must have followed trail from Arno and Yamada. He will come for us now. We must be vigilant. Thierry's girl broke into Pierre's safe. She worries me. Imelda. So much for Imelda's innocence. Plantard was working for her, and for Canchon. But why did Plantard want to meet? Was it a trap? Or maybe he was in too deep and needed me to tell a story, whatever the story was. One thing was clear. It was a story worth killing for.
And the plot thickens. Alright, not sure if there is anything else here to do. I think we've done everything here. Two word ciphers.
Hey, what about my photos?
Oh, of course. How could I forget?
Well, I'm waiting. Get your camera out.
Camera. Oh, I forgot. It broke.
Alors, they should never send a woman to do a man's job.
Well, this woman had fooled him easily enough. And found the evidence the police had missed.
Alright, so can't go into the alleyway, so I guess we go back down this way. Go in here maybe?
The door was locked.
Nope. Awesome, so let's go in here.
The strange metal artifact I found in Plantard's pouch had pointed back to the quayside.
Alright, so going to the quayside here. We're going up, I guess. We're going in here. I think we've got to go in here. Still have the crushed shell here that we can use. Do this again. Cylinder thing on here.
The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia, a message of hate. The flags had faded, but...
it's the flags.
Fascist regalia, a message of hate.
Something here. Didn't see this the first time I came in here.
That wasn't going to help. A door like that always has something important behind it. I had to find a way to unlock it.
What about this thing? No?
Plantard's key fitted the lock, so he must have used this place too. The folders were empty. Someone had removed anything that they thought could be incriminating.
Oh, somebody came in here already, so that's...
A photograph had been torn up.
Just gonna have to put the puzzle together type of thing here.
If I could just arrange the pieces.
Oh, yeah, one of these puzzles. So we can arrange these in the right order here. Alright. Looks like it fits there. I don't think you can rotate these pieces. This looks like to be the other half of the photograph here. The other half of that photograph. It's a pretty easy puzzle here. There's no more corner pieces here. There's there.
Oh my God. It can't be.
Her father, it looks like.
There was no doubt about it. It was a picture of my father. Papa, oh God. After what I'd gone through, I thought I could face anything, but not this. My father, the one person in the whole world who I truly admired, standing with Crachon, while those murderers carried on with their evil work. My father, grinning at the camera. I couldn't believe it. I realized that I desperately needed to get to the bottom of this story, and that I really needed George.
Oh, you really need George, huh? Well, later that afternoon. Alright, so we have George. So it's always good to talk to everyone first here.
Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good. It only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to.
Looky, Santa Claus is walking down the street with his green cap.
Do you know a young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me in the apartment block across the street. The door isn't locked, but you'll need to give it a gentle nudge. It sticks, you see, because of the damp. The landlord said he'd fix it before winter sets in. He's been saying that for 3 years.
How long has Mademoiselle Collard lived here?
A few months. She's in for a shock when the cold weather comes. Drafty windows, insufficient heating. It's a struggle to keep warm. The only reason I stay is because the rent is cheap. Your young lady, she deserves better.
I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't you let on that I've told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
Alright.
Have you seen anyone out here watching Mademoiselle Collard's apartment?
Yes, I have. A strange man. Tall and thin as a broomstick. He kept his face hidden, but I saw his eyes peering from evil little slits.
How was he dressed?
A long brown raincoat with an hat.
Or like Humphrey Bogart?
Yes, but he didn't have Bogart's charisma. Besides, this guy looked like he needed a toilet. You never saw Bogart clenching his buttocks like that.
Alright.
Is there anything else you can tell me about Mademoiselle Collard?
No, monsieur.
Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Well, thanks for telling me. What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity?
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat. I've changed my mind. Will you tell my fortune?
You're going on a long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise. Can you tell me anything I don't already know? How does this fortune-telling routine work?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be selling flowers for a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver dish. I just happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur. The strange thing is, I can't seem to see myself in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
Maybe. I figure it's a kind of natural safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
What do you make of this tool?
Is it something a dentist would use?
No, it's for raising manhole covers.
Formidable.
Do you recognize this nose?
No, monsieur.
What can you tell me about this tissue?
Nothing.
What can you tell me about this material?
It's a very expensive piece of cloth, monsieur.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Let's save the game. Alright, let's enter here.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock.
Hi.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers underneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck. Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
My editor told me to drop this story. Can you believe it?
But you're not going to do that.
Oh, no. I'm going to find out what's behind these killings. It just doesn't add up. It almost feels like some sort of conspiracy. The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders. The press don't connect them at all. They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone. Tell me more about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell.
Well, how'd you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought me my first camera. I was 8, and my parents had just split up.
Did you live with your father?
Yes. My mother went off with her new boyfriend. I didn't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
Oh,
sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted me to study art. That's why I went to college.
Alright.
Did you learn about photography at college?
God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Talk about the scary clown.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arno Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it, millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was lured to his death by a snowman.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium.
How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown.
I had been about to add mime to the list, but stopped myself. I really didn't want to have to explain to George about my father's involvement with Cachon.
You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you this, I will not be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance for a big break.
Or an early death.
Alright, let's go over the items.
This is the tool I used to get into the sewers.
Fascinating, George.
You're not interested, are you?
Oh, of course I am. I think it was very brave of you to go down those sewers.
Yeah? Well, it was kind of scary, but... well, I had a job to do. I found this false nose in the sewer.
Hey, what's this inside it?
The contents of someone's nose?
Don't be cross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
Alright. Let's talk about this.
I found this tissue down the sewer.
That's disgusting, George.
No. I think the stuff on it is grease paint, like actors use, or clowns.
It's still disgusting. Get rid of it.
I found a piece of material near the cafe. When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed the film I shot at the cafe. Here, George. It's an enlargement I made.
Photograph.
Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh, no?
Take a close look at his right cheek.
A scar in the shape of a horseshoe.
Or a crescent moon.
Alright, so we have a photograph here.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
Alright, it's jotted all options here. So I guess we're gonna go to the Lavuso.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
So, alright. So go to here. The con shop. Let's talk to him and exhaust all our conversation options here.
Excuse me?
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible! You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Alright, let's talk about these.
Have you heard of a man named Plantar?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then, I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
Let's go exhaust all these.
What does this tool mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur.
Do you recognize this man?
Oui, monsieur. I sold him some grease paint.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that.
Ew. That's gross.
Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning. That is the man to whom I sold the grease paint. I remember the scar on his face. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Alright, so you got his name as Monsieur Khan, if that is his real name. Alright.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Yeah, that would be somewhat of a shocking experience, though. That would be somewhat of a shocking experience. I guess we still need to call a tailor. We haven't done that yet. So... I think we can get the phone from here, I think. Yeah, this phone here.
Hello? Who is this?
Hi. My name's George Stobart. You don't know me.
Correct, Mr. Stobart. I don't. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm trying to trace one of your customers. Could I maybe come over and talk to you?
No. No, that's not possible.
Oh, okay. Forget it. Listen, all I want is a name.
What are you talking about? Who are you working for?
I guess you might say I'm acting in the interests of truth and justice.
Ah, thank God. I thought you were the police.
There are innocent lives at stake, Mr. Todrick. Lives that you could save.
You're collecting for charity, yes?
No, I'm not. All I want from you is information.
Go on. I'm listening.
Alright, let's discuss all this.
Do you know a guy called Plantar?
No, I never heard of him.
Shall I tell you what happened to Plantar? How he was killed in cold blood?
I told you, I never heard of Plantar.
I expect Plantar's a family man, don't you? In their little apartment, Madame Plantar is cooking the supper, listening for the familiar sound of her husband's key in the door. Junior is waiting for his daddy to come home from work. He can't wait to show him the merit marks he earned in school today. Only tonight, Monsieur Plantar won't be coming home.
You forgot the puppy.
Huh?
The faithful puppy dog, waiting for the sound of his master's voice.
Well, maybe they don't have a dog. What do you think?
I don't know, Plantar. I never heard of Plantar. None of this has anything to do with me.
Alright.
The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown.
Okay, so that's all we gotta do there. We got Hotel Ubu. Whoa, we got here. Let's talk to these guys.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
No, I ain't. Don't tell me I missed him. Oh, that's too bad. I love the clowns, don't you?
No.
I've seen daytime television that was funnier.
I love it when the little guys get hurt.
That figures.
Custard pies, hose pipe down the pants, then smack! A plank in the kisser.
You ever meet a guy called Plantar?
No, I ain't.
You missed your chance. If you're quick, you'll catch him at the coroner's. Do you happen to know a guy named Khan?
That ain't nobody I know.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
Is this a trick question?
No, I simply asked if you recognized him.
Okay then. No, I don't.
No way. Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
Nope.
This guy's real
Do
fishy.
you recognize this tissue? Think carefully now.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
I'm gonna have to hurry you.
ooh.
Time's up, so I'll tell you. It's a used tissue with a liberal dump of Bestheimer's number 12.
If you say so.
Shake my hand.
Nah.
Oh, rats.
Alright,
See you later.
Not if you see me first.
that guy's a little fishy. That guy's a little fishy.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be fun?
No, I really am looking for a clown.
There are no clowns here except you.
Ha 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 ha.
Have you heard of a guy called Plantar?
No. That name means nothing to me.
Let's see, talk about this guy here.
Do you know a man by the name of Khan?
No, I don't.
It's very important I get to see him, and
I told you. I don't know it.
what does this tool suggest to you?
Hard labor.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
No, I never saw it.
Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
No.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Are you serious?
Oh, yes. Take a good look at the substance it's smeared with.
You are sick. Very sick.
Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking? Who knows where it has been?
No, I should save it. I'm not sure if you can actually die in this game. So let's save here. Alright, into the hotel we go.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George. George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organises fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
Why?
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
I just couldn't bring myself to use the buzzer on this dear lady.
Aw, that would've been fun.
Does this tissue mean anything to you?
I'm no shrinking violet, but that object makes me feel quite queasy.
Do you know what this is?
At a guess, I'd say it was a clown's nose.
That's right. It was worn as a disguise by a vicious killer.
Good heavens, are you trying to alarm me?
It's true. He uses the name Khan. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
What?
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Alright.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantow's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would.
What?
Can you think of any use for this tool, ma'am?
I can think of someone I'd like to use it on.
Okay, alright, got a bit more information. Let's talk to this guy. I'll have to talk to the people in this game.
Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England. Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Alright, let's see if we can shake his hand.
May I shake you by the hand?
I do not shake the hands of imperialist dogs.
Now that's a real bad attitude problem you've got there. Does this goo-smeared tissue mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
What does this clown's nose suggest to you?
In my country, we have no use for clowns.
I'm glad to hear it.
They were dealt with most severely in the last cultural cleansing.
What about the mimes? Did you get them too?
All gone. Our streets are mime-free.
Sounds like heaven. Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer?
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Have you any idea what this tool might be used for?
I cannot guess.
Would it mean anything if I told you it was for lifting drain covers?
Such technology fills me with wonder.
No doubt. Alright.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Alright, talk to the woman, talk to this guy. Go upstairs, but let's see what else is over here. We can go talk to the clerk or something. So let's save our game after talking to all these people.
I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantow?
No, monsieur.
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I'd noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur. I'm still sore from the shock administered by one of the guests. He was secretly concealing an electrical device in the palm of his hand. Practical jokes are so puerile, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. What do you make of this tissue?
Do you wish me to dispose of it for you, monsieur?
Hey, no! It could be useful. I'm holding on to this.
As you wish, monsieur. Perhaps you would like a little plastic baggie to keep it in?
Nah, it's fine the way it is. Do you recognize this red nose?
No, monsieur.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
It's Merlin, isn't it? Alias Khan, the clown.
I told you, I cannot tell you that.
What do you make of this tool?
Stunning, monsieur. I bet you handle it like a professional.
Hello there, Embassy. Welcome to the stream. So we are playing some Broken Sword 1 here. Investigating a murder that a mime and a clown has performed, so it could be the same person here. Alright, what else we got here?
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You are trying to steal that key, no?
No way.
That's a fun little game. Doesn't seem to be too hard. There have been a couple of slider puzzles and a couple of word cipher puzzles so far.
What now, monsieur?
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
I believe Khan, the man with the scar, is also known as Merlin, the man who has taken room 22.
What of it? What do you want?
Access to his room.
Do you have a license, monsieur?
Huh?
A private investigator's license?
Well, not exactly, but I can explain everything.
I am sorry, but without credentials, I cannot help.
I insist you give me the key to Merlin's room.
I cannot do that, monsieur.
This guy Merlin is a menace.
So you say, monsieur.
He's not only a danger to society, but to your guests as well. He has toyed with the affections of Lady Piermont.
Ciel! Are there no depths to which he will not sink?
Precisely. He's already killed once, twice, maybe as many as 3 times. With your help, I just might be able to stop him.
But what if he finds out I have helped you? No, I cannot do it.
Let's talk to Lady Piedmont again. She might be able to help me.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick.
Alright. Grab the key here.
I say! You there? Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
Alright. Let's show which one of these rooms it is.
If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The sign on the door read 22. The door was locked. It wasn't the right key for the door.
You go to this one here, I guess. This one not highlighting for me.
The door was locked.
Of course the door is locked. We need to use the key here.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key.
Alright, there's not a connecting door, unfortunately.
There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor.
Alright, what else we got here?
The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did.
Well, that's kind of weird. Nothing on the bed. Well, I guess we go out the window. And chimney across to his room. Don't fall.
The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed.
Alright.
The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty.
There's nothing in here. There's something, there's another square here, I think. No? Maybe not. So, there must be anything of value here.
It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. As Khan opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed.
Alright. Pair of pants.
I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. The pocket was empty. I flipped the pants over. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. I pulled on the metal tag and the thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. The pocket was empty. I found nothing in the pocket.
How do you flip the pants back over again if you can?
I turned the pants over again. There was nothing in the pocket. The pocket was empty. I searched the pocket gingerly and found a pass card. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Alright, so you got some more information here. I think that's it.
I turned the pants over again.
There's nothing here except for the pants pocket, which you looked at already.
I turned the pants over again.
You took the pants over again. Okay. I think we're done here.
It was the card I'd found in the hotel bedroom. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Ah, the electronic dude, yeah, alright.
The matchbook bore a pattern of swirling color and the words, Club Alamut.
Club Alamut, alrighty then. Oh, I guess we go down the lobby again. Nice to save the game here again.
What now, monsieur?
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur.
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive.
I don't know what I'm talking about the key here.
Do you recognize this key?
That is the property of the Hotel Ubu.
Correct.
May I ask how it found its way from the little hook to your pocket?
Would you believe it was put there by a poltergeist?
No, monsieur. The hotel is regularly serviced by an exorcist. If we had a ghost, Father Fécond would have flushed it out.
I suppose you want the key back.
Not especialement. The room is vacant. Since you are so determined to conduct your little investigation, I won't stop you.
Oh, we could have called the police. But he didn't. Alright, let's go to Mr. Piedmont here.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
This is the key to room 21.
That's next to the room taken by that rotten Merlin, isn't it?
Yes, and it's vacant.
Really? How convenient.
Maybe it was my imagination, but I had an uncomfortable feeling about this situation. Yeah. I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
Indeed.
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has 1,000,000 faces.
What?
I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George!
Alright. My favorite woman in the whole game. She gets things done for me.
Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but...
What's the problem?
He isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
Alright. So I guess we're done here. Let's save here. That's almost 30% our way through this game.
I couldn't leave the hotel with the manuscript. It was probably what those thugs were looking for.
Alright. Maybe it's to talk to her again.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
This is what Merlin was so keen to hide.
Really? Well, that fuss for a sample of wallpaper.
It's some kind of manuscript, and it looks to be very old.
If I was you, I'd keep it well out of sight until you're clear of this place.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I could roll it up and put it down my pants.
No, that wouldn't do at all. You'd attract far too much attention.
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
It was the ancient manuscript which Khan had stolen from Plantar. I couldn't leave the hotel with the manuscript. It was probably what those thugs were looking for.
Oh yeah, I forgot about these thugs. So, guess we have to go back out the window ledge, I guess. The only way we can go. Must be a different way we can go here.
The cobbles of the alleyway looked very distant and very hard.
Maybe it'd be, since the thugs are gonna want the manuscript, maybe we can throw it away, maybe?
I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Okay. That seemed to have worked. Alright, let's see if we can exit this place. Probably save it again here. I'm not sure if you can die in this game. There we go.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
Alright. Into the alleyway, pick up the manuscript.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out.
Okay, we're back at Nico's,
Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. Come in, Josh.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, Josh.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year, but it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Hey, Nico, shake hands with me.
No chance, Buster.
Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times, warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his scrolling. He put the lid back on his tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. With his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do.
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
Yeah, alright, let's see what else we got here.
I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name or an address. That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him, or the company.
You're just not going to believe what I found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh yeah, maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Jeez, so the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
Alright, so I'll go over the manuscript.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Alright, so it looks like there is 4 stories associated with this.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either.
I think that's it.
Look there, 2 guys. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Krone Museum. I'll give you the address.
Okay.
Are you sure you've never heard of Thomas Merlin?
Positive.
Well, anything else about the manuscript?
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Obviously, I can come back here if you need more clues.
There's a woman looking, but the
Look at...
Oh, how do you get out of here?
There's a night, the night through.
Okay.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobino at the Krone Museum.
Alright. There's the museum. Oh, let's go into here, I guess. Let's see if there's anything out here.
Attention! Please do not open the window, monsieur.
Don't you think it's kind of stuffy in here?
Better stuffy than dead.
What's the problem? Fumes from car exhausts?
Not just that, monsieur. There's a new burger bar opened up across the street. The Laughing Buffalo.
So what's the problem?
They cook their burgers on a charcoal grill, and the fat falls on the open flames. The amount of organic compound and smoke particles released is astounding. Since they opened, local air pollution has doubled, and it stinks like a funeral pyre. That is why I keep the windows closed.
Pardon me?
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobino?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobino does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar, though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar, not like Monsieur Lobino.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. Not a sausage.
What does this tool mean to you?
That belongs in a museum.
Pardon?
It is a priceless historical artifact, if I am not mistaken.
No, it's a plain old tool for lifting drain covers. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur. Is there any reason why I should?
I guess not. Do you recognize this red nose?
I don't think so.
What do you make of this tissue?
It is absolutely disgusting, monsieur.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not while I'm on duty, monsieur.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
Oh, no. I don't frequent places like that.
Do you recognize this ID pass?
No.
Thanks for your help. In the case was a spindly tripod,
blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Lochmarn at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited.
Alright, that, and this is totem here.
Watch out! You'll have that done on top of us! Watch out!
Alright.
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
Closet? It's a sarcophagus.
Oh, I think we're done here. Don't see anything else here. I was able to open the window. I'm not sure. Probably have to do it while he's not looking. Alright. I guess we go back to the apartment. Since there is nothing else I can do here. Back at Nico's apartment.
Hi. I've been to the Kroon Museum.
Did you speak to Lobineau?
No, he wasn't there.
Of course he wasn't there.
I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Lochmarn.
I have heard of Lochmarn. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
A popular gossip magazine. You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Lochmarn. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a 4th series of his popular television program. This site at Lochmarn must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's dam is important, why don't you visit Lochmarn?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clan's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The 2nd week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
There's a... but the...
Look.
On the night through... There's a... but... There's a... that is not a good idea.
Oh, okay, we talked about
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
So I guess we're off to Europe. Off to Europe. A few hours later.
I passed the castle on the way into Lochmarn. The castle where Peagram's excavation was located.
Let's save our game here. So I think I am going to wrap up the stream here. And we will continue investigating this place in Ireland tomorrow after we beat Bard Cell 3. So we are pretty close to the end of Bard Cell 3. Making my way through the large mess in the final dungeon. I only have one more statue to find. And then I believe we will be fighting the final boss. So yeah, pretty sure we will get to the final boss tomorrow and beat Bard Cell 3. So if you're looking forward to that, I will be starting that at about 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And then after the conclusion of Bard Cell 3, we will play some more of Broken Sword 1, Shadow of the Templar. So this looks a pretty fun game so far. Puzzles have been relatively easy here. Yeah, so about 32% complete. So we're only like 1/3 of the way through the game so far. So we'll continue that tomorrow. And if you're not already following, you can definitely follow me here on Twitch and on Twitter, of course. And yeah, so let us find someone to raid here. Oh, is anybody on here? Oh, I want to give Cartube a raid. He's playing some Far Cry Instincts for the Xbox, so I'll give him a raid. So thanks again everyone for coming, and I hope to see you guys again here tomorrow as we play through finishing up Bard Cell 3, and we will continue our adventure in Broken Sword 1.